Welcome back to the archives for Modular Patches, and today we're looking at a really simple idea of taking a signal like an LFO in this example, who modulates the wave shape of the tiger and rectifying it. And we're trying to not achieve this with a rectifying module or make noise mask. No, we're looking at the idea of taking linear VCAs and rectifying a signal. Right now you hear a half rectified version of this LFO. Now it's a full rectified version of the LFO, and we're also looking at audio possibilities and turning your rectified signal into a VCA with a personal touch. So, let's get started. Everything you need are VCAs, oscillators, filters for personal taste, an envelope, and maybe a couple of multiples. But the most important thing is you need an offset generator. You need to generate a steady voltage to make this trick possible. In its basic form, you can exchange this voltage through LFOs and envelopes and stuff, but like for the basic start, you need an offset voltage. I have poles here who can generate one. Let's start. The first two modules you need for the basic working of the patch is a VCA, and it should be a linear one, but we're looking in later of the video what is happening if we change the characteristic. And you need an offset generator who generates positive voltage, a steady positive voltage. And the clue is you need to put the offset voltage, this cable here, into the input of the VCA, and your audio goes into the CV modulation input of the VCA. That's the whole trick here. I'm bringing back my audio, and you hear the bipolar LFO modulating the wave shaping of tiger. And because it's bipolar and the settings I choose, it goes below 0, and you basically hear nothing for a short amount of time. We want to rectify it to get rid of this negative half of the LFO. And basically, if I take out this offset voltage, nothing is happening, of course. If I inputted it, you only get the positive half of the LFO and the gap in between where your negative half of the wave would lie. This is half rectifying the LFO. The trick to do full rectifying, get a second VCA, also in linear mode, and a second channel. You can flip the polarity of your LFO, inverting it. So I took a multiplied version of the LFO into the second channel of poles and inverting it, making it negative, feeding it into the second CV modulation input of the second VCA. And in the input again, it's our steady offset positive voltage. And then they're both getting mixed in veils. Otherwise you would need an extra mixer, but this connection is normalized if you don't take this output. The first and the second channel are mixed, and the third channel is only here for attenuation. It has nothing to do with the patch, you don't need it. But both signals getting mixed, And now you have a full rectified version, where you basically flip the negative portion of the LFO into the positive. And it basically cycles twice as much, double as the half rectified version. Listen to it. And the full. Yes, that is basically the whole idea. It's really simple, but we can take it a notch forward. The last VCA channel here is also fed with a steady voltage, because it's ear reg, and we don't only want to rectify CD signals but also audio. And there it gets really interesting, at least for me, and you can get some really nice timbres out of it. And there are some special tricks because we're doing this with a VCA, and in the case of Wales we have a variable shape knob and we take the use of it. But first, again, in the input, in the audio input, it's our steady voltage from poles, and into the CV modulation input, there goes our whole audio path. I'm switching now to the, and you need to say this is now half rectified, the half rectified version. And back. Basically, you get a lot of grit and dirt in the top end and lose a little bit of the low end. But the fun part is, if you now introduce an envelope, because basically right now we're only feeding the steady voltage into the VCA, but Pulse has also an input and a lot of offset generators, or basically I think everyone has an input where you can bring in CVs. Let's do this. And basically I took an envelope from Rampage over here and feeding it into the audio input now. And now you basically created a VCA with a characteristic, like a distortion in it. When I change the VCA, I'm activating the VCA now on. This is the original signal with the VCA activated on a Tiger. It's not the low pass gate, it's only the VCA right now. And this is only the VCA from our rectifier. This works because this is an VCA. So basically you can create some custom sounding VCAs. And the fun part is, if you now demonstration purpose. Yeah, basically this is all of the patch. No cutting required, except from the intro. Yes, I hope this is somewhat informing to you. It's not a special technique, but yeah, good to have in your repertoire.